morning, dear children. In the previous class, we started with the history chapter, the making of the national movement. In the beginning, we studied the major cities who took part in the revolt of 1857. Then we discussed the consequences of this revolt. We also studied the emergence of nationalism, the problems faced by the people, by the Indians due to Britishers' different policies and programs, and how the people revolted against it, and they started demanding Swaraj, that is independence. We also discussed some of the major acts which were launched by the Britishers for the Indians. And then the people, the Indians, they were not ready to accept those laws, those acts, and they agitated against it. We also studied the formation of Indian National Congress, its emergence, how it originated, and what was what was the Congress first session, the conference, the meeting which took place. Today, we are going to discuss few of the revolutionaries who took part in this revolt. So let's start with the explanation of these revolutionaries as to what work they did for gaining the freedom. So children, we ended with the demands made by the Congress during this period, that is the period after the revolt of 1857. Do you remember what were the demands made by the Congress? Let's have a quick glance. The Congress wanted representation of Indians in the legislative councils, and the Congress made a demand for civil service examinations in India. Then the Congress also demanded a separation of judiciary and executive, which means the judiciary should be independent, the repeal of Arms Act, and also the freedom of speech and expression. So these were the demands made by the Congress. Now let's see who all were the revolutionaries who worked too hard for gaining the independence. First on top in the list is Lala Lajpat Rai. You all are familiar with this famous personality. He was an Indian Punjabi author and politician who is chiefly remembered as a leader in the Indian independence movement. He was associated with activities of Punjab National Bank and Lakshmi Insurance Company. He sustained serious injuries by the police when leading a non-violent protest against the Simon Commission, and died less than 3 weeks later. His death anniversary, 17th November, is one of the several days celebrated as Martyrs' Day in India. Now, the economic demands which were during the early years of the Congress. Economic demands means demands related with the finance, related with the economy. So what were the demands? First in the list was reduction in revenue, cut in military expenditure, and more funds for irrigation. So reduction in revenue, that is the taxes on land should be reduced, military expenditure should be lessened, and more funds should be given for irrigation facilities. The Congress also passed various resolutions on the salt tax, treatment of Indian laborers abroad and the suffering of forest dwellers. So it also passed various resolutions, various acts on the salt tax, the treatment of Indian laborers who were working abroad, and also to lessen the suffering of forest dwellers. These demands show that in spite of being a body of the educated elite, the Congress also talked about the common people. So these demands also tell that the Congress was also interested, it also talked about the life of the common people. The moderate leaders wanted to create public awareness about the unjust nature of British rule. In order to do so, they published newspapers, wrote articles, and tried to show the bad effects of the British rule. So the next is children, the moderate leaders, they wanted to create the awareness amongst the people against the unjust nature of British rule. So for creating awareness, they published newspapers, wrote articles, and tried to show the bad effects of the British rule. So children, this is the picture of the Indian National Congress in Delhi near Rashtrapati Bhavan. Freedom is our birthright. By the 1890s, many Indians began to question the style of the Congress. New leaders emerged who began to explore more radical objectives and methods. Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Lala Lajpat Rai were among the radical leaders. So children, who were the radical leaders? Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and Lala Lajpat Rai were the radical leaders. They criticized the moderates for their policy of prayers. They argued that people should not believe on the so-called good intentions of the government and must fight for Swaraj. Tilak raised the famous slogan, "Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it." So children, these leaders, they criticized the moderates for their policy of prayers. They even said that people should not believe on the good intentions of the government. In contrast, they should fight for Swaraj, for independence. Tilak, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he raised the famous slogan, "Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it." So Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he was born as Keshav Gangadhar Tilak. He was an Indian nationalist, teacher, social reformer, lawyer, and an independence activist. He was the first leader of the Indian independence movement. The British colonial authorities called him father of the Indian unrest. He was also conferred with the honorary title of Lokmanya, which means accepted by the people, as their leader. So children, Bal Gangadhar Tilak was given the title as father of the Indian unrest, and he was also conferred with the honorary title. Sorry children, he was given the title of Lokmanya, but British authorities, they used to call him father of the Indian unrest. Tilak was one of the first and strongest advocates of Swaraj and a strong radical in Indian consciousness. Now let's see the partition of Bengal. Bengal was partitioned in the year 1905 by Viceroy Curzon. At that time, Bengal was the largest province of British India. It included Bihar and parts of Orissa. Administrative convenience was cited as the reason for the partition of Bengal. Most of the analysis believe that the partition was done to reduce the influence of Bengali politicians and to split the Bengali people. So children, Bengal was partitioned in the year 1905 by Viceroy Curzon, and at that time it was the largest province of British India. It also included Bihar and parts of Orissa. And administrative convenience was the biggest reason for the partition of Bengal. As I have told you, Bengal was the largest province of British India. So for their convenience to govern Bengal, they divided the Bengal into two. But most of the analysis believe that the partition was done to reduce the influence of Bengali politicians and to split up the Bengali people. Effects of partition of Bengal. So what were the effects of partition of Bengal? People all over India were angry with the partition of Bengal. All sections of the Congress, they opposed it. Large public meetings and demonstrations were held to protest the decision. The struggle against the partition of Bengal came to be known as the Swadeshi movement. It was strongest in Bengal but was felt in other parts of the country as well. It was known as the Vande Mataram movement in Andhra. So what were the effects of partition of Bengal? First, people all over India, they were very angry with the partition of Bengal. All sections of the Congress, they opposed it. They were not in favor of dividing Bengal. Large public meetings, demonstrations, they took place to protest against the decision. And the struggle against the partition of Bengal came to be known as the Swadeshi movement. And it was the strongest movement in Bengal, but its effect was felt in other parts of the country as well. It was known as the Vande Mataram movement in Andhra. Now Sarojini Naidu. Everybody is familiar with this name too. She was born in Hyderabad to Aghore Nath Chattopadhyay and Barada Sundari Devi on 13th February 1879. He was settled in Hyderabad, where he founded and administered Hyderabad College, which later became the Nizam's College in Hyderabad. Her mother, Barada Sundari Devi, was a poetess and used to write poetry in Bengali. She was the second woman to become the president of the Indian National Congress in 1925 and the first Indian woman to do so. I hope you all have understood who was Sarojini Naidu. So just now I have told you about the Swadeshi movement. What were the main aims of this movement? First was to go against the British rule. Second, encourage the ideas of self-help, Swadeshi enterprise. Third, encourage national education and use of Indian languages. So these three were the main aims of Swadeshi movement. Now another politician was Chittaranjan Das. He was born on 5th November 1869 and he passed away in 16th June 1925. He was an Indian politician and founder leader of the Swaraj Independence Party in Bengal under British rule. He was educated in England, where he became a barrister. His public career began in 1909. He was a leading figure in Bengal during the non-cooperation movement of 1919 to 1922 and initiated the ban on British clothes, setting an example by burning his own European clothes and wearing khadi clothes. At one time, his clothes were tailored and washed in Paris, and he maintained a permanent laundry in Paris to ship his clothes to Calcutta. He sacrificed all his luxury when he became attached to the freedom movement. The radicals advocated mass mobilization and boycott of British institutions and goods. Some leaders also suggested the use of revolutionary violence to overthrow British rule. Now, the formation of Muslim League. The All India Muslim League was formed at Dhaka in 1906 by a group of Muslim landlords and Nawabs. The league supported the partition of Bengal. Some seats in the council were reserved for the Muslims. The league wanted the representatives for those seats to be elected by Muslim voters. This demand was willingly conceded by the government in 1909. So children, Muslim League, it was formed at Dhaka in 1906 by Muslim landlords and Nawabs, and the league too supported the partition of Bengal. Some seats in the council were reserved for the Muslims. The league wanted the representatives for those seats to be elected by Muslim voters, and this demand was willingly conceded by the government in 1909. Now came the split in Congress. There was a split in the Congress in 1907. The moderates were opposed to the use of any kind of violence, and the Congress came to be dominated by the moderates. However, two groups reunited in December 1915. In 1916, the Congress and the Muslim League signed the historic Lucknow Pact. They decided to work together for representative government in the country. So children, that's all for today. I hope you all have understood today's lesson. Go through the chapter, mark all the important features of this chapter. Thank you. Have a good day.